undecayed nun's dead body lures hundreds of spectators for viewing. This is like some Catholic, get into some Catholic moments, okay? Okay, let's get into it. So, in a sensational turn of events that has thrust the sleepy town of Gower, Missouri into the global spotlight, the remains of Mother Mary Wilhelmina Lancaster, an African-American nun, have been found stunningly intact 4 years after her death. This extraordinary phenomenon, known as incorruptibility, is turning the unassuming hamlet into a buzzing pilgrimage site as hundreds gather in disbelief and reverence. While the Catholic tradition often sees such rare incidents as a sign of sanctity, natural science explains that certain environmental conditions can remarkably preserve human remains, making the inexplicable seem mundane. As whispers of potential sainthood ignite, experts, church authorities, and the public grapple with this mystery. Meanwhile, visitors can witness Mother Lancaster's remains, a testament to this remarkable event, enclosed in a glass case at the St. Joseph altar in Gower. So, let me unpack the details. Okay, so there was this woman. She was a very prominent African-American nun in the United States. And not only this, she started an order that has like best-selling Gregorian like chant albums. Okay. Um, she died in her 90s back in 2019. And they were exhuming her body. So that means they were digging up her coffin to move her remains from where they were buried to be buried inside of the chapel, which is a tradition in Catholic practice, particularly in Catholic orders like the order that she founded. And this raised some questions for me, because when they were like, oh, we found this body that's in like perfect condition, I'm like, why did you go look it up and dig it up to begin with? Like, how do you know? How did you find out? Okay, well, they found out because they were moving it anyways, because I had some questions. And then I was like, okay, if you were moving this body, you're moving the coffin, why were you looking at the body? Like, how did you... Wait, you have to star that comment. I need to read that later. You can't do this to me in the middle of me speaking. Okay, 1 second. That really... Okay, when they were moving the coffin, they didn't open the coffin. What happened is that there was a crack in one portion of it, and they saw in the crack, they like shined a flashlight or something. And one of the people was like, I see a foot. And apparently everyone who was there started cheering, because Catholics know what that means. That means potential incorruptibility, right? And so they have opened up the casket and to like look at this body, which is so macabre. And they saying that this is in condition that cannot be explained, why this is in such good condition. According to one interview that I saw, they say that this is a miracle because her habit that she was buried wearing, her veil, was made out of the same material that lined the coffin. And on the inside of the coffin, that material was deteriorating and rotting, but it was in perfect condition on her. They said even her socks weren't in perfect condition. And so now her body is just on display. They have put they did admit that they put wax molds on her hand and face to try to like protect the corpse, but people have apparently confirmed that there was no embalming of the corpse. And so now there are all these rumors about how this is a miracle. We are witnessing a miracle in America.
Okay, so now bring up the comment that made you...
Before we stop listening, this ain't a miracle, just another example. Black don't crack. Oh my god.
By the way, D also, but D
Yeah.
finds the best responses to these articles. We should always like
Yeah.
remind me to scroll down because D usually goes and like
She
when people
finds
tweet
some
about
really
the
good
news.
social media posts.
Yeah. So somebody had made that joke also on on Twitter. So this one says black
So
don't
funny.
crack. This one, oh, this is another interesting comment. You want to read this one?
I said, in my culture, when corpses refuse to rot, it means their spirits are not resting. Interesting. Because in
Yes.
Catholic tradition, the idea is that this is a sign of holiness
Mhm.
because this person is so holy in the life that they led in living Christ's teachings that their body is kept more whole because it is supposed to be like ready for the resurrection. That's kind of the logic behind quote unquote incorruptibility. And yeah, there was contemporary Cooper is saying her body is on display. That's disgusting. So
Well, you haven't met. Have you met Catholics? They're obsessed with body parts. Their Catholics are obsessed with dead body parts.
yeah,
Is that not? Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's
I
true.
don't know what you.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So Catholics are so obsessed with body parts that we literally have body parts of saints that are considered relics that are kept and preserved to this day. And the amount of time as a child I was brought around to different cathedrals to go view like decapitated hands and fingers that are relics um was a lot, and I didn't even like think about it twice as a kid. Like that's how normal it was for me.
I, as a kid, when I traveled around the world, with my parents, when we went to Catholic churches, they were like, "Oh, this little box has a finger of a saint in it. This little box has like I don't know, the tongue of another saint in it." I was like, "What the hell's wrong with these people?" Even as a kid, I was like, "These." What? I was like, "What the hell's wrong with these people?" Like skulls and fingers and toes and tongues and
And a
like
lot of
just
times these relics that are body parts for the most holy cathedrals and the biggest cathedrals and stuff, they're actually kept inside the altar. They're literally put inside the altar of these more special cathedrals because the altar is where you bless the Eucharist and it becomes the body of Christ, right? And these saints are supposed to be, especially if they're men or there were priests, they are considered as an extension of the body of Christ. This is part of their vows. They're married to the church in the same way that Christ was. So that's kind of the mentality behind why we literally sometimes put their body parts inside the altar where we have our human sacrifice ritual known as transubstantiation. And it's fascinating. Now, here's the thing. I was very curious about like what do Americans think about this, and so I watched a video that CNN put out about this instance, and I was reading the comments because I assumed that um, America is like a pretty Christian country, that people would be like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And there's some of that. But the reaction to a lot of it were people being like, this is disgusting. This is macabre. Like, how is this allowed? Like, why would they do this? Blah, blah, blah. So it's really interesting for me to see so many Americans reacting to this news, like very negatively. Like they were disgusted.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving in that direction.
Yeah, but like also, I mean, there are more Protestants in the US than Catholics, and they don't do this kind of stuff. So I understand why their reaction is like shocked.
All right, we should. Oh, we got another super chat, I think. Yes. Wait, let me actually unstar these other ones.
Wait, no, this is important. I'm sorry. This is the last thing I need to say. Speaking of Catholics being obsessed with body parts, I was looking up what are some examples of
Dead
famous
body parts.
relics, dead body parts. There have been numerous examples of people claiming to have the holy foreskin, the holy removed foreskin of Jesus. To the point
amazing.
that
Good
the
for you.
Catholic Church has officially come out and saying that they like disregard any of that because so many people are like, we are the ones that have
the
Jesus's
we have the holy foreskin.
amputated tip of his pee-pee. This is
Yeah,
how far we
amazing.
go.
What an honor. What an honor.
I
Amazing.
mean, back
The
in that
holiest of all
reminds me.
foreskin.
I forget who. I remember being told that back in the day, I don't know what period of history this was, but it was a legitimate belief that the rings of Saturn were Jesus's foreskin.
What? Who said that? Oh my God.
I don't know. Someone look this up and tell me like where this came from. All I know is that at some point in history, someone or some people thought that the rings of Saturn were Jesus's foreskin.
Oh my God. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Really? Yeah. Okay.
But they don't call it the foreskin. They call it something else, like the prepuce or something. Because like foreskin, that's so
Why
sexual.
are they?
Sex is dirty and gross, and we wouldn't do that to our Lord and
Why
Savior.
Why are Abrahamic religions obsessed with foreskin? Can anyone explain that?
No.
No. Okay.
But they really are obsessed with the foreskin.
Yeah.
Guys, protect your foreskins. Don't circumcise your sons. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It was you know the part of the Bible where David had to go collect 100 foreskins to be able to marry a girl, and then he decided
Yes.
to, yeah.
So he circumcised
So
like all his soldiers. So crazy.
No, not his soldiers. They had to get enemies, like cut off the enemy dicks of his enemies. Okay, so the king said, "If you want to marry my daughter, bring 100 foreskins of my enemy." And David was like, "I'll bring you 200," and he brought 200. So David went above and beyond, and that's how he got his wife. So romantic. That's in the Bible, guys. That's in the Bible. That's the prophet of God.
I'm seeing a few like misconceptions about circumcision in the live chat. I just want to say that a lot of it about spreading disease is not true. It's been disproven.
No.
And also in terms of like
It's
the
rare
schmegma and
cases
stuff,
only.
if you teach your son how to clean himself properly,
you just wash
then
it.
it's not a concern.
Just wash it when you go to shower. You don't need to cut off. You need to cut off baby parts. Okay, you don't need to cut your babies. Okay, it's a myth. There's in very, very rare cases it's a medical necessity, but the vast majority of the time you're just cutting a baby. So stop it.
We don't cut off our fingertips because we need to wash under our nails.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we got a super chat from Newman. Do you want to read this one?
Newman, thank you for the super chat. He's saying Susie's reel was sweet and motivating. Thanks. Recently, I've been releasing like my reflections and thoughts that I think help other people on my Instagram. And I cried in my most recent one. So if you want to check it out, my Instagram is in the description. I've been really trying to share with other people some of the thoughts and mentality that's been helping me grow as a person. And I've been getting a lot of really positive feedback. And I'm glad that it's meaningful to people. So check it out.
Yeah, guys, Susanna's Instagram is in the description. And the link is there. But also her username is triple dimpled. Can you show us why it's called triple dimple?
Well, I don't know. You have to make me really smile. Tell me something. Tell me something cute.
Well, you're putting me in the spot. Well, you look really cute today. Is that good?
Thank you.
There you go. There you go. That's why it's called triple dimple.